Hello guys, welcome to the Edupedia World. Today we'll be covering one of the most important Java topic that includes variable, data types and constants. So in this tutorial we'll be covering these three such that we'll be taking up variables, data types, category of data types, declaration of variables, assigning values to variables and assignment operator, scope of variables, standard default values, constant or symbolic constants, and typecasting. So since you can see these are a huge number of topics, so it is possible that we are not covering all of them in this single tutorial, and we'll be dividing this tutorial into number of parts. So let's begin with part 1 and we'll start up with the variables topic and we'll see that which topic we can cover in this video. So beginning up with variables in Java. Okay, so variable is a piece of memory that can contain a data value. So as we have been knowing that variable does contain some memory and that memory location can contain some value. A variable thus has a data type. So each variable has a data type. So that data types determine what kind of value this variable can store. A variable are typically used to store information which your Java program needs to do its job. So you need to create a variable and which can be used in your Java program. Okay. If we talk about variable in terms of memory, so variables are just bit holders. So bit holders that are of a designated type. So you can have a int holder or a double holder or a button holder. What is button? Well, button is a user defined class. So you can say it's just any class that user has defined. Okay. And even a string holder. So a int holder will include only int values. A double holder will include only value of a type double and so on. With that holder is a bunch of bits representing a value. Okay. So for primitives, the bits represent a numeric value. So you know everything in machine language in a form of 0 and 1. So all primitive types are also written in a form of 0 and 1 in machine code. For example, a bit with a value of a 6, for example, means the bit pattern in a variable. The byte holder is 0000110. So this is a bit representation of 6 and your memory will contain the value 6 in this format. And the memory location which is having this value, that is 4 times 0 110, I'm sorry, it's 5 times 0 110, will be given a name. So that name is called a variable. So I hope it's very clear that the variables are just bit holders. So every variable gets a memory in your Java JVM. So every variables get its own memory depending upon the data type it is having. Okay. So you can see like when we store a byte variable 6, it takes up 8 bits of memory. Now what are data types? Each variable in Java has a data type. So you know variable is always of some data type. It could be a int variable or a char variable or a boolean variable. A variable stores some value and takes up certain amount of space. What kind of value it stores and how much memory a variable takes up, it totally depends upon its data type. So a data type only determines what kind of value this variable can store and how much space it will take up. Now data types are divided into two groups. One is primitive data type and other is object reference. So let's see these two data types. Okay, so here is a list of primitive data type. So as you can see, we are having these primitive data types. So we have listed 8 primitive data type in this table, starting with Boolean and ending at double. So let's study these data types one by one. So the first primitive data type is Boolean. Well, the binary value of either true or false is stored in a Boolean variable. So any variable of the data type Boolean can store either true or false. Okay, no other value. And what do you think is the memory allocated for a Boolean? Well, I think for Boolean it depends upon JVM. Some of the JVM just take up 1 bit. So it stores true or false in a terms of 1 or 0, which take up 1 bit. Whereas in some implementation, it is stated that it also takes up 8 bits, that is 1 byte. So I hope you are aware that 8 bits is equivalent to 1 byte. Okay. So that's what with the Boolean. Moving ahead to byte. Now byte is 8-bit signed value and its value ranges from -128 to 127. So you can store any value in byte in this particular range, that is -128 to 127, and it is a 8-bit signed value. Okay, so the space a byte is taking up is 8 bits. Okay, then moving forward to short. A short takes up 16-bit signed value. So when we are saying 16 bits, so that means 2 bytes. Okay. So it's taking up 16 bits and signed value. Signed value means it can have either negative or positive value. And what's the range of that? So the range of short is -32768 to +32767. Moving forward to char. Char is 16-bit Unicode character. So char also takes up 16-bit and it can take Unicode characters. Then moving to int. Well, int is 32-bit signed value. So it is taking up 32 bits and it's a signed value. Its value ranges from this particular number, which is -2 147 48348 to 2147 483 647. Well, it's a quite long number and you don't need to remember it. Just remember that it takes up 32-bit. Okay. And then we have long. Long takes up 64-bit signed value. Again, the range is very, very huge for long, as you can see. So it's taking up exactly double what int is taking up. Okay. And short is taking up exactly half what int is taking up. Then we have float. Float take up 32-bit floating point value. Then we have double. Double takes up 64-bit floating point value. So you see difference in float and double is double can take up double the range of values that float can take up. So since it is having a space of 64-bit, that's why it can take up a value up to huge precision. So you just need to remember how much space these primitive data types take. So just to revise again, Boolean takes up 1 bit to 8 bits depending upon JVM implementation. Then comes byte, which takes up 8 bit. And then comes up short and char. Both of them take up 16 bit. Then came int and float. Both of them are taking 32 bit. Then long and double. These take up 64-bit. I hope it's clear. Now let's see how you can declare a primitive variable. So here I'm declaring a int variable. I have used a keyword int, which denotes that my variable is of a int type and the name of variable is my int, followed by a separator which is semicolon. So this is how we declare a primitive type variable. A variable of primitive data type contains the value of a variable directly into the memory allocated to a variable, for instance, a number or a character. So, whatever like data you give, it will always take up a space that is allocated to that particular data type. So, this was about primitive data types. Let's move forward and study object types. So, the other category of data types is object type. Well, object type means a type of a object. Object can be anything. It can be Java's predefined object. It can also be a user-defined object. Okay, so let's study some of the object classes in Java. So you can see all these classes which you have studied in a primitive type are present in a object type, but they have their first letter as capital. Well, these are also known as wrapper classes because these are classes built upon from considering their primitive type. They can take up the same value that their primitive type is taking. So a boolean can again take up true and false, but this is a object type. This is not a primitive type. So that means boolean with capital B is a class in Java. It is a predefined class. So what are the benefits of having a class with the name boolean upon having a primitive type boolean? Well, the advantage is it is a class. So that means it inherits Java's object class. So as you know that in Java, object is a parent class and it is having various methods. So every class that inherits object class can use its predefined methods such as equals, hash code, and so on that we'll study later. So it gets added functionality. It can follow features of polymorphism, inheritance, and so on. Um, and thus it becomes very simple and well, we'll see the advantages of wrapper classes later on, but I think for now you need to understand that we do have some wrapper classes with their first letter in uppercase and they are built upon the primitive types. And for boolean we have a class boolean with capital B. Similarly we have a class byte, short, character, integer, long, float, and double, where the values all these classes that contain are exactly same what their primitive types can contain, and also the space allocated is also the same. Okay, so now let's see how do we declare object types. Well, here is how you declare a variable one of a core object types. So here I'm having integer. Integer is a wrapper class. It's a predefined Java class, and for this object that I'm creating is my integer. So my integer is the name of object and integer is a class. So again, class is a kind of a object type. It's a kind of a data type. So here the data type is a object and that object is my integer of the type integer. So when you declare an object reference variable, the reference does not point to any object. You need to create or instantiate the object first. Here how it is done. So when you create simply integer, my integer, it is not pointing to anything. So the object is not yet created. Whenever you have to create an object of any class, may it be user defined class or a Java defined class, you need to use the new keyword. So as shown below, like here we are declaring integer my integer equals to new integer and the value that we are giving is 45. Okay. Now you can see here a user-defined example of a object type. I have created a class, given a name my class, and in that I have two primitive types. In this class I am using two data members. These data members are of type int and char, which is a primitive data type. And now I am creating a object my class. Okay, and the object name is also my class in lowercase equals to new my class. Now, by writing this statement, a new object has been created and a memory is also allocated to the object my class. And what is the size of memory? Well, that is determined by the data members that my class is having. Okay, so it is having two data members, one is of type int and another is of type char. So let's see what is the memory being allocated to this object. Let's go back to the primitive data type. So you can see int take up 32 bits. So it is having 32 bits plus char takes up 16 bits. So in total it is having 48 bits of memory allocated to this class variable, my class. Okay, I hope it's clear that how the memory is allocated to a user-defined class. Just to repeat it again, whatever the memory that will be allocated to a user-defined class will be dependent on the data members it is having. So sum of the memory allocated to each data member will be the memory allocated to the my class variable, which is of a object type. Over here int is containing 32 bits and char is containing 16 bits. Adding these two, this is having 48 bits of memory. Fine, so these were data types. I hope it's quite clear to you. So now for this tutorial I would like to pause over here and continue the next topic in next tutorial video. So thank you guys. Let's meet up and complete the topic in next video.